My name is Aniya Robinson, and I am the Director of Policy and Organizing at the ACLU of Alabama, and a proud Louisiana native, born and raised. Where am I coming from, and what does the fight for fair representation look like? I'm coming from Montgomery, Alabama, and the fight for fair representation looks like people having lives where they're not just surviving, but they're thriving. And their dreams aren't just dreams, but they're possibilities and realities. So the ACLU of Alabama, we provide a lot of policy and legal expertise when it comes to the fight for fair maps. And we also are really passionate about making sure that our community is right there along with us. So yes, we're in the State House and we're at city councils and we're in courtrooms too, but we want our neighbors and our friends to be right alongside there with us. The effect of communities being divided by lines is that we create a whole lot of unnecessary division. We create silos where those don't need to exist. And we get people discouraged to fight for what they need. When people have dreams, when they have lives, when they have jobs, when they have families on the line, and they see the folks who are supposed to represent them acting in a way that's different, that harms them, it's the opposite of what political leadership should be. Well, Southern communities are connected not only because we have this shared history of oppression and, quite frankly, white supremacy showing up in our state and local governments, but there's also a history of resistance there. You know, we've seen it over the past couple of years, and we've seen it especially now. You know, right now, I'm about to be on a lot of different calls for the rest of the day. This is the day that the Supreme Court dropped their Callais decision, which of course is a setback, but immediately folks from Louisiana, Mississippi, we all got together and said, okay, we have to have a unified response. And so, yes, it's hard, it's difficult, but I'm motivated by that. I'll be very honest, this case is definitely a setback. It takes about 40 years of settled case law and, in my opinion, just throws it out of the window. It makes things a whole lot more confusing and a whole lot more difficult for folks. For example, there's a portion in the decision where the justices essentially say that any evidence of discriminatory intent, it's going to be a whole lot harder for plaintiffs who bring these types of cases to prove it. It's going to be a lot more difficult to bring cases if you're trying to fight back in the way of litigation. But there are still avenues available to us. There is action that we can take at the federal level. There's also action that we can take at the state and local level too. You know, one of the things about redistricting is that it comes along every 10 years, and elected officials have to talk and listen to everyday people. And so, yes, this is a setback, and they are definitely trying to make bringing these types of cases more difficult, but litigation is not the only way to bring about change. I will say, I was looking forward to this because I've been reading through the decision, and it's been honestly a little depressing, but being able to just vent and talk about this has been very helpful. So thank you. And also, just the way that folks immediately sprang into action as soon as we got the news. And that's what we've been doing in Alabama and all across the South. And it hasn't just been, when a decision drops or critical moments like that, but we really have a way of coming together when the moments really, really matter. And that gives me hope. That helps me to get up and